Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim for The Real Sports Talk. You can hit me up on Twitter at CashKelly_TRST, and you can also like The Real Sports Talk on Facebook. In baseball, there's a lot going on right now with Roy Halladay and Jared Weaver injured, but one thing that I think is going to go kind of unnoticed is Magglio Ordonez today is going to retire. This is I'm reading a lot of this from a Fox Latino article talking about Ordonez's retirement. It says that he will be honored in a pregame ceremony at Comerica Park, home of the Tigers, within the next few days, I believe, or it will be on Sunday. So Magglio Ordonez will be honored on Sunday. Magglio Ordonez, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's one of those outfielders that he had a really, really good career, and a lot of it had to do with injuries that just really killed his career. Ultimately, an ankle injury is why he probably isn't on an MLB roster now, and essentially it forced him into retirement. But you want to be able to put his career in perspective, and I'm going to do that in this video by going over some of his stats, reminding you how good this guy really was, because I think that a lot of people forget how good Magglio Ordonez not only was with the Tigers, but he was a really good outfielder for the White Sox for a few seasons too. So let me go over what he did, and also all that I mentioned, him and guys like Bobby Abreu really became innovators and not the earliest people to come from Venezuela, but they were some of the best players that have ever come from Venezuela throughout their career, or throughout the history of the MLB, and that's also mentioned in this article, and I didn't even notice that till just now. But he began his career in Chicago in 1997. Really, he began his full career in 1998, and his first season was pretty impressive, 282, 14 home runs. In his second season, 1999, he hit 301, 30 home runs, 117 RBIs, stole 13 bases, had an on-base percentage of 326. You could tell how good Magglio Ordonez was going to be. Through 2004, he had some great years with Chicago, hitting 30-plus home runs every season from 99 to 02, and then in 2003 he hit 29 home runs, so he basically hit the he basically hit 30 home runs 5 seasons in a row. And then he had some injury problems, which essentially forced him out of Chicago. He was not very friendly with Ozzie Guillen, if you remember that him and Ozzie Guillen just really did not get along and did not work well together. So ultimately, once Ozzie Guillen was brought in as the manager, they tried to make it work, and things just were not able to work. In his first season in Detroit, it was relatively uneventful. 82 games, he did it 302 with 8 home runs, but he was only able to play 82 games. After that, though, in 2006 is where his career really took off again. 2006, he hit 24 home runs, 298, 104 RBIs, and the Detroit Tigers out of nowhere, essentially. This was a team that I remember a lot of people saying, wow, this is a Tigers team that's going to go from being a team a few years ago that only won like 45 games to being a team that could win 75, maybe 80 games. And they went to the World Series. They wrote a lot of guys that they bought low on and ended up really working out, guys like Magglio Ordonez, Todd Jones. And Ordonez was the biggest part of that. He had a huge walk-off home run, and you're looking at a picture of his celebration afterwards. He had a walk-off home run to send them to the World Series, defeating the Oakland A's. And that's really one of the most forgotten baseball seasons, I think, 2006, because maybe there wasn't the Yankees or the Red Sox in the World Series, and that was right after a period where there had been a lot of years. But 2006 was a great baseball playoffs, and the Detroit Tigers were a big part of that. Now, obviously, Magglio Ordonez was as well. In 2007 for the Tigers, he had the best season of his career. He had 363. Put that in perspective. 363. He won the batting title that year. 28 home runs, 139 RBIs. Those 139 RBIs were a career high. Drew a career high. 76 walks. Did strike out 79 times, but he had, I mean, when you hit 363 and only strike out, essentially when you're a power hitter that can hit 30 home runs, and he was an overall hitter, or an all-around hitter, but he was one of the better power hitting outfielders when he was healthy that we've seen in a while, at least on a consistent basis. And when you can strike out under 80 times, that shows how valuable you are to your team. To only strike out 80 times. When you hear about other power hitters, and I know that these guys are more straight up power hitters than Magglio Ordonez was, because these guys aren't hitting 363, but guys like Prince Fielder and Ryan Howard will strike out 180 to 200 times in a season. And then you get a guy like Magglio Ordonez to do this, and it was really an impressive career for Magglio Ordonez. In 2008, he hit .317 with 21 home runs, 103 RBIs, and after that, he just injuries basically killed him, along with the fact that he was getting older. Obviously, he wasn't going to continue playing at that level through his mid to late 30s. But injuries really caught up with him again, and the last 3 seasons of his career were not very eventful. In 2010, he hit .303 with 12 home runs, but he was only able to play 84 games for the Tigers. 2009, he hit .310 with 9 home runs and 50 RBIs. And then last season, when the Tigers made the playoffs for the first time since 2006, he really was not able to make a huge impact throughout the regular season or in the playoffs. They had other guys like Alex Avila, Victor Martinez was brought in, and the lineup had just really changed. That Curtis Granderson wasn't there anymore from that 2006 team that went to the World Series. And Magglio Ordonez, he tried to get some offers from a team, and I heard a lot of reporters say that this was not the way that he wanted to go out. He did not want to be pushed out. He wanted to leave on his own terms, but he's not going to be able to do that. And I think that a lot of times players are so proud that that's not something they want to do. But essentially leaving because of injuries is just kind of part of the game. It's going to happen to certain guys that injuries just derail their career. But Magglio Ordonez, in between some of those years of being injured, had a great career. Put it this way, if Magglio Ordonez had 2 or 3 more seasons where he had played at this type of level, he would have been a Hall of Famer. And I think to put him on the Hall of Fame ballot, I certainly think that is extremely fair. To put him on the ballot, he deserves to be on the ballot. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but to put him on the ballot certainly shows how strong Magglio Ordonez had it, or how strong his career was, how much of an impact he had in turning around a Tigers franchise that had been in the ground since the mid-'80s, or yeah, maybe the late 80s, but you get my point. The Tigers really love this guy in Detroit, and that's why he will be honored Sunday when he officially announces his retirement from the MLB. Magglio Ordonez, great overall career. I'm Tim. You can follow me on Twitter at CashGelly_TRSD. Like The Real Sports Talk on Facebook, and check out The Real Sports Talk if you're not already at youtube.com/Mr. Kelstar.